You need to be nice to your trash guy. Okay, I'm not saying that you're not nice to your trash guy, but I'll explain it after our really fancy intro. Hey, welcome everybody to the SideBySide Business Podcast. I am your host for today, Larry Pruitt, and those of you who are watching on video, and now that those of you who are listening, you're going to understand that I'm solo today. And this is the SideBySide Business Podcast. So it is a little bit awkward that I don't have Sue by my side today, but I need to explain. Today is the day where we are recording our podcast normally, and Sue is serving the Lord at our church at Vacation Bible School this week. And Sue, we need to pray for her because she is taking care of a group of 9 and 10-year-old boys. All right. Now, I will say we're pretty far into the week at this stage. And she said, so far, it's gone really well. The boys have been cooperating. So all that is good news. But when she comes home, she's pretty exhausted. She's pretty wiped out, as you can imagine. It's been 10 years since we've had a 9-year-old boy in the house. And so we're kind of beyond that stage of life a little bit. So like I said, she is serving today. And so those of you who work at Vacation Bible School at your church, you kind of understand all of that, right? You dedicate the morning for that. And then the afternoon, you're kind of wiped out. So for that reason, I'm going solo here today in this episode. And in my opening, I said that you need to be nice to your trash guy. Well, okay, again, hopefully you're already nice to your trash guy. And I'm going to really explain this as we go through here today. But this episode is all about relationships. And when we think about relationships, normally we think about the manager at the local store, or we think about if you're in the e-commerce world like I have been, you think about the sales rep at the wholesale company, or maybe you think about somebody who has a similar audience to you that you can collaborate with, or that you can partner up with on some sort of an offer. Well, those relationships are all super important, and I 100% agree that we need to foster those relationships. But there are also opportunities around every corner, and sometimes in really surprising situations. And I'm gonna tease this out a little bit longer, but I'm gonna explain how this worked out with the individual who comes and picks up trash at our house every week. All right. So first of all, just on the whole topic of picking up trash, I think that's something that every young person should do at some point in their life. All right. All right. So whenever I was, when I was 17, 18 years old, I was able to get a job working for the village that I grew up in. Small little town. Everybody knows everybody. My dad was on the village board, just all the way, carried that all the way out. And so whenever I think after I graduated high school, so I think it was the summer that I was 18, I got a job working for the village in the water department end of things. And so that was a pretty good job. And we went around to houses and we read water meters. And there were times where there was a water leak. Maybe that wasn't so much fun because I had to be down the hole digging around the water line so we could get access to it. Not a bad job, though. I really enjoyed it. But whenever the street department, whenever they got short on people, maybe somebody was on vacation or somebody was sick or whatever, they would pick one of us high school, college guys, and they would move us from the water department to the street department. And that normally meant that you were going to be picking up trash that week. And that was not the most fun job that I've ever had, but it was a learning experience, let's say. And back in that day, boy, I really sounded old there, back in my day. But back then, there weren't all the restrictions on how you had to put your trash in the trash can even. Now you're supposed to have everything within a bag, right? And the bag's supposed to be tied up. And if you have anything that's unusual, like a mattress or something like that, you're going to throw out. You probably can't even throw out a mattress anymore. You've got to figure out another way to dispose of that. But like there was no recycling back at that time or anything like that. So no telling what I was going to find in the trash cans whenever I would go around town, through the alleys of town, walking behind the trash truck and sticking my head in these trash cans and getting the trash out and throwing it up into the back of the truck. So it was kind of miserable work. Obviously it was during the summer that I was doing this because it was during the time I was off of school. And so it was hot and it was miserable and it was so hard. I hope everybody is just feeling a tremendous amount of compassion for me right now. But I'll just say that I learned a lot. It was hard work. I got to learn everybody's house in town, again, small town. Be like, oh, this is Bob's house. And you look into Bob's trash and you're like, oh, Bob had a party over the weekend, apparently. And there's all kinds of pizza boxes and all that type of stuff. And if somebody had trimmed their trees, again, this was, like everything was on the table back then. So there'd be this pile of these, sticker bush branches sitting here, and I'd have to stick my face down in this stuff and wrap my arms around it and throw it into the back of the trash truck. So anyway, that's my experience. And I seriously think that it would be a good experience for any young person to do that for maybe for a summer or at least for a week. We always had our kids pick up trash around the house. That was the boys' responsibility. And it was kind of disgusting at times. We had 7 people living in this house and some young people, some little people as they were growing up, and they weren't very careful about hitting the trash can whenever they were putting something in there and such. So it's good. It's good, hard work, labor. And so I highly recommend it. If you've got a teenager, have them pick up the trash in the house, have them take the trash out. And if they can get a job working for a little while of going around town and picking up trash, they will learn the value of hard work for sure. So now fast forward to why I'm saying you need to respect and be kind to your trash guy. So we've got a weekly pickup here in where we live, and we live out in the middle of nowhere. So the trash guy's got to drive a quarter of a mile off of the road to come down our lane just to get to our house. So I always think about the fact that I don't want him to drive back here and then I forgot to put out the trash can this week. And so I just make sure that I get it set out on Monday evening every time. So that's one way to be respectful right there. And I try to have the trash can in decent order. All right. So that things are inside bags. And so it is pretty easy for him. But recently, and I'll just say this also, that there are times where we have some weird things that I'm like, I don't know if this is acceptable or not. And so I'll go out and I would frequently talk to the guy. And actually, most of the time, it was the guy who owns the company. He does a great job. He does a good job of customer service. His costs are very reasonable and all that. So I wanted to be nice to him. And I kind of developed this little bit of a friendship with him just from talking to him. And I think there's times where he takes things for me that maybe he normally wouldn't take for somebody else just because we've got this friendship. All right. So that was kind of advantageous from my end of things. It's advantageous from his end of things because I'm paying him and this is his business. And I respect him as an entrepreneur. And so we've got that win-win situation going on there. Well, one week, whenever I heard the trash guy backing down our driveway, and so I went outside because I had something out there I didn't know if he'd be able to take or not. And so it was somebody new. And I was like, oh, okay. So there's a new guy here working for the company. It's not the owner this week. And so I kind of started talking to him. He explained to me a lot of stuff about wasps. All right. Like the little bugs that fly around that will sting you. This guy knew a lot about wasps. And he was educating me on which ones I need to worry about, which ones I didn't. Believe me, I'm getting to my point here. Okay. Um, so the guy, he was just a little different. The way he explained things was kind of funny, and we laughed together, but we were kind of forming a relationship, a friendship there as we were going. And probably after about 4 or 5 weeks of him coming, and I didn't talk to him every single time. I probably talked to him 2 or 3 times at this stage. But I had my garage door open, and he saw my lawn tractor sitting there. And I've got an old Craftsman lawn tractor. It is like 15 years old at this stage. So I am milking this thing. I'm trying to get this thing to extend out as long as possible, because they don't make lawn tractors today the way they made them 15 years ago. Most of the frames now are made of plastic, and back then they were made of metal. And so I know that I've got something that's pretty decent here. My son keeps complaining about it. He's wanting me to buy some fancy zero turn, but I don't know if you've seen the prices on these things, but they're like $5, $6, $7,000. And so I'm like, I'm going to milk everything I can out of my current lawn tractor. So the trash guy sees this, my lawn tractor there, and he was like, "Oh, you got a Craftsman, blah, blah, blah." He's talking about the model, and he's talking about it a lot. And then he looks and he was like, "You've got an oil leak." I'm like, "I know I've got an oil leak. There's a big stain on my garage floor here." And he was like, "I work on small engines. I work on lawn tractors all the time." And so he just comes over there and he's just kind of messing around with some stuff. And he was like, "Oh, this little, where the oil, oh my goodness, I'm going to show my ignorance here, where you open it up to empty out the oil whenever you're doing an oil change." He was like, that valve there was a little bit loose. And he was like, "Oh, that's probably your problem." And I was like, "Oh my goodness, that was so dumb of me not to know that." But I said, "I had an oil leak before the last time that I changed the oil in it." And so anyway, we got to talking about it a little bit more. And then there was a couple of other little issues I was dealing with. And he's just volunteering all kinds of information for me. And I'm like, this is valuable information. And so after the second or third time that he had come where we were talking about my lawn tractor, I just said, "Would you be willing to work on this for me and to fix some of these things that you're talking about?" And he said, "Oh, yeah, I'd be happy to do that." And I said, "Well, I don't have a trailer. I don't have any way to get this to you." And he said, "I'll come and pick it up." He said, "No charge. I'll come and pick it up with my trailer. I'll bring it back, no charge." And he said, "And by the way, for my labor on these, I charge about $10 an hour." And I was like, "Dude, your time is worth a lot more than $10 an hour." I'm around entrepreneurs all the time, and I'm always encouraging people to value your time. Don't discount the abilities that you have. Don't discount yourself like this. But he said, I've got this full-time job, and I just do this on the side. It's a lot of fun for me. He said, "I would probably do it for free, but I just charge $10 an hour just to get something out of it." And I'm like, "Well, I will argue with you about the fact that this is worth a significant more amount than what you're charging. But if that's what you're charging, great. I mean, fantastic. I will be super happy with this." So this guy picks up my lawn tractor. So by the way, now I've learned his name. All right. So I don't call him the trash guy anymore. His name is Nate. All right. So now we've got each other's phone numbers. We're texting back and forth. We're nerding out over lawn tractors and different things. And so he comes and he picks this up on a Friday, and then he brings it back to me just a couple of days later. And he's showing me in the meanwhile, he's taken pictures of it. He's taken it and he's washed it. He's done all this stuff for me. I'm like, "Oh man, I have not taken care of this thing very well. I haven't washed this thing. I don't know how long." So he's washing it for me. And he was like, "No extra charge for this. It just drives me crazy when I see things that are dirty and I just have to clean them." So he's a neat freak. And I'm like, "Okay, that's cool." So he brings this thing back, and the oil leak is gone. I don't know. We had 2 or 3 other problems with it. It just wasn't cutting real well. And he talked about that we had the wrong size belt on there. So he's telling me what belt I need to get and everything so that the blades will run better, and et cetera, et cetera. So He literally charged me a total of $95 for this. And I think he had a part that was involved in it as well that he just had there. And so he just went ahead and just kind of put that on. I don't know if he even charged me for it, but $95. And I'll just tell you, I've had service on this lawn tractor done before, and I've never been able to have anything even basic done for less than two or $300, something like that. And this guy, he just really blessed me with what he did here. And so my point of all of this is that was a relationship that I didn't go into it intentionally thinking I'm going to get something out of this. I just thought I'm going to be nice to this guy. I've got this background of I can still remember, even though it's been a long time ago since I was a teenager picking up trash, but I can still remember that. I remember sticking my head into people's trash cans, and I remember the maggots, and I remember the smells and all the disgusting aspects of it. And this guy does it. First of all, he's done it without complaining about, I'm only picking up trash. He seemed to actually enjoy it and to find value in it. And I encourage people, no matter what you do, find value in it. It is an amazing thing to have somebody come to your house and to pick up your trash for you. And I think we all pay for it. We all are happy about it, but we all have a tendency to take that person for granted, that man or that woman, that young person who is coming out and doing that service for us. And so I just want to encourage you, don't take that person for granted. And we could throw in a lot of other things in here as well. The person that works at the water department or the electric company, the person that you're writing the check out to at the county treasurer's office for real estate taxes. Oh, that was painful for me to say that because I just wrote our real estate tax and I went there in person and I wrote the check and I handed it to the lady and I was nice to her. It was really difficult. It's not her fault that our real estate taxes are ridiculous in Illinois. All right. So everybody you come in contact with, the cashier at the grocery store, the greeter at Walmart who's waving at you when you come in and when you leave. It's so easy just to look past people who do these quote unquote unimportant jobs. Back in the COVID time, we found out that certain jobs were, and I just hate to use this term, essential. But our government was making an assessment over which jobs were essential and which jobs weren't. And that was infuriating to me because I think all work is important. All work is essential. And there may be seasons where you're doing a job you don't love. I've had that as well. But when you're doing that job, I just want to encourage you to take pride in what you're doing. And whenever you're encountering people who are doing jobs where they are serving you or just working as a waiter or whatever that job may be, to honor that person for who they are as an individual, for the job that they are doing, and then demonstrate to them that you think of them highly. Look them in the eye, say a kind word, give them a tip. Just any way that you can, honor that person and develop that relationship with no thought about what you're going to get in return. That is how we give. That is how we serve. That is how we demonstrate love to others. And then along the way, every once in a while, you will get an unexpected blessing in return. And that's what happened to me here within this last week with Nate, the guy who was just coming to pick up my trash, that I developed a friendship with. And then I found out he had a skill that would really help me and would serve me. And I paid him money. I don't think I paid him enough, but I paid him what he asked. And I was happy to do that. And you know what? I also did something else for him. I had just a push lawnmower that has been sitting unused in my garage for literally probably 10 years. And I just said to him the other day, hey, you want this? You can fix this up and you can sell it. You can, that'll be another blessing for you. So that was kind of a tip, a non-monetary tip for him as well. And he seemed very pleased about that. So, all right. So that's going to be a wrap here for today. I would love to get comments from you on this. Just share with me maybe your experience of some time where somebody, maybe you were working a job that wasn't, a quote unquote essential job as the world sees it today. Maybe it was a job where people have a tendency to look down upon you a little bit, but somebody honored you, somebody respected you. And maybe you could share that comment with us so that other people will be encouraged by that as well. Or maybe on the flip side, you've had the opportunity to do that for somebody else. In our e-commerce business, we would always give gifts to the people at the post office and the UPS driver, the FedEx driver, because they were doing their job. And yes, they were getting paid to do their job. But when they did it well, it extremely, it blessed us extremely. So maybe give me a comment or something just to explain about an idea that you have, something that you have done for other people along the way, relationships that you have formed that have been, maybe they've been one-sided, maybe they have been win-win type of a situation, but that was the right thing to do. I'd love to hear your comments on that. Also, share this episode with somebody that you think would be blessed by this or would be encouraged by this. And we'd love it if you would give us a review on the platform that you're watching or listening to this on. You will never know just how much that blesses us and helps us if you would do that. So, all right. So that's all for today, the solo episode of the Side-by-Side Business podcast. Hope you take this information. I hope that it's a blessing for you and that you can somehow apply this to your life and your business, that it will help you so that you can go build your dream business side by side. Take care, everybody.